Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Tuesday Tips, your go-to series for helpful advice for our aging adults and their families. We want to make life a little easier and a lot brighter. So I'm glad you're here today because we've got a fresh and timely topic to talk about. That's right, spring cleaning and spring clean up. So, spring is really the perfect time to refresh our space and create an environment, that feels light, uncomfortable, clutter-free. But we know that spring cleaning can sometimes feel like a big job, especially when you want to find the right balance between getting it all done and staying safe. So don't worry, we've got you covered. We're going to talk about some special considerations that what do we need to think about with our aging adults and all the things that they've collected over the years. So today we're going to share some practical spring cleaning and decluttering tips designed just for our aging loved ones. And we're going to focus on trying to stay organized, protecting their health, their safety, and thinking about enlisting help when needed. And so before we jump in, I just want to mention we've got some amazing resources to share after the live video. Check out the comments and also the replay description where we'll post links for some additional resources and professional tools to help you take your spring cleaning and decluttering to the next level. So stick around and I'll share more about that at the end. All right, so grab a cup of tea, water, your favorite beverage, and let's go ahead and dig in and get started. One of the things that I like to talk about here is, I am, talking about decluttering and cleaning and spring cleaning for aging loved ones and families. And, that's something that I've worked at myself. And so what I did in December, every December, my husband and I, we sit down and we look at our goals. We look at the things that we want to accomplish in the next coming year. And then we used to, years ago, that was it. It was this big, long, big, hairy, audacious, list of things that needed to get done. And year after year, we were really disappointed when, it just, the whole process just seemed very overwhelming. So in the last couple of years, I've really tried to focus on getting more organized. And so what we did is we took, we have a log home, but it's very open so that some of the rooms are quite large and can be very overwhelming as well. And so what we did is I divided up the rooms, the whole house, into 12 sections. And so that was 1 month of the year. So January we did our loft, because we chose January to do the loft because Christmas time we can sleep 14 up in our loft. And so Christmas time is when we have a lot of family, kids, grandkids staying over. So that's how we chose January as being the loft. And I have a little cubby space up there that we put all our Christmas decorations in that. And so that's just seemed like a very practical place to start for January as we put away all the Christmas items. And so we just drill down. And so I can say that we are in April now. So we've had January, February, March, April. So we've had 4 months of quote unquote our new spring cleaning or decluttering plan. And we're right on track. And I can't tell you how good it feels to open up a closet door or a place that we've been and just have it be organized. And one of my challenges is, and so some of our aging adults that have some mobility challenges, one of my challenges, and those that know me personally, know me well, know I'm very short. I am only 4'10". So a lot of my challenges come in putting things away. I have a tendency to put things away where I can reach. And so my husband has accused me more than once of opening the door, throwing something in there and shutting it before it falls out, because I can only fit so much stuff in a small space that I can reach. So he's helped me. We've done some more shelving. We've really gotten creative and he's helped me a lot. So sometimes, with our aging adults, we just have to think, put ourselves in their shoes and think about what's their eye level, what they can reach, what they use more often, what they don't. So some of the things that they don't use very often, those are the things that we can put up higher. So that was just one of the things that's helped us this year. So our first step, we want to ease into spring cleaning with some, like we talked, with some simple, a realistic plan, as we talked about what was working for me. That might not work for everybody, but just think a little bit about your lifestyle and about yourself and about your aging loved ones, and and see what what might fit best for them. So remember, it's not about tackling the entire house in one day. That would be exhausting, and many of our aging adults would not be able to handle that. So we want to start small and build momentum. So make a list of the rooms or areas you'd like to freshen up, then break your list down into bite-sized tasks. For example, instead of saying clean the living room, how about dust the shelves or vacuum the carpets? Smaller steps are easier to manage, and our aging loved ones that run out of gas, sooner at the end sooner at the end of the day than maybe some of us. Smaller steps are easier, and it gives them a sense of purpose. They've accomplished a task, and they really can feel good about maintaining that independence. So keep each task, think about it about 30 minutes or less if you can, and don't forget to encourage them to take a break and listen to their cues and stay hydrated, and have that bottle of water or their beverage, close by. And taking breaks is very, very okay. And hey, if you're a fan of background music, put on your favorite playlist or put some music on. If they're not really technology savvy, maybe develop a playlist for them and turn their cleaning into a fun, active experience. Sometimes when I'm having a particularly rough day, and for me, a rough day is lots of client problems, lots of problem solving, lots of trying to help people navigate the healthcare system and keep all their balls in the air while making sure that they get the best care possible. So sometimes my days can get pretty stressful and exhausting because I've had a hard day trying to pull the pieces all together. And so I've been known to turn on, I have a channel on Pandora that I like, and it's 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So that kind of covers the whole genre for my age, and I will play that. It'll be nothing for me to just get up, take a break, walk away from the computer, and just dance a song away. And it really does relieve the stress. It gets you moving, it gets you active, and it's just fun. All right. So when it comes to cleaning, safety is also very important. So there's a few must-know tips to help keep our aging loved ones safe while tackling, projects this year. And so please encourage them to avoid heavy lifting. We don't want them to injure their back. Back injuries can be notoriously aggravating for a long, long period of time. Also, harsh chemicals can irritate their skin. We got to remember, as our aging adults age, their skin becomes very thin. So they're very prone, even if they bump it, they're prone to getting skin tears. And even if you put a Band-Aid on, the Band-Aid could rip off more skin. So we want to be really careful about harsh chemicals or things that would be sensitive to their skin, and, just bumping into things and hurting themselves. So avoid using ladders or step stools unless absolutely necessary. I had a fall. It was my own fault. I was reaching up in the cabinets and I took down a whole armful. I have one of my top cabinets in kind of a corner cabinet is on the top shelf. I keep a lot of cookbooks that I don't use all the time. So I was decluttering. We were decluttering in the kitchen area, and I was up there. My husband wasn't home. I got on the step ladder, went all the way to the top. I had my arm full of books. I could not have fit one more book in my arms. I was going down the steps, so I only had 3 steps. I missed the last step. I went down, the books went flying. I cracked my head on the wooden leg of the table. And I was shook up a little bit. I had to kind of walk it off, and I was walking up and down the hall saying, kind of giving myself this self-nursing check. Okay, I'm doing this. Does everything work? Is everything okay? So, we just want to really be careful. And if they are, using, maybe this would be a good time for you or a grandkid or, someone to just spend a little time with them and help getting those hard to reach places. So watch your posture, when bending to pick things up, bend at the knees instead of your back. These are things that we've been told, over again, but it really does make a difference. And like we said before, most importantly, pace yourself. There's no rush to get everything done all at one time. So just take your time. All right. So next, spring is also a great time to start sorting through items and clearing out what you no longer need. This is especially sensitive topic for aging adults, because that means going through things that they've collected over the years. Decluttering can bring mixed emotions, especially when sentimental items come into play. So, here's a few tips for decluttering thoughtfully and successfully. And remember, at the end, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the links on there for uh, the videos. I've got 2 videos for you. And one is Share the Memories, Lose the Stuff. And Sarah Washburn is a professional declutterer or downsizing expert for seniors. And her company is called Piece by Piece Decluttering for Seniors. So we have a video from our Senior Care Summit that we're going to share at the end. You can access that and watch that. And the other one is life coach and downsizing expert Tosh Patterson. She goes into a Swedish method of decluttering for aging adults, dealing again with a lot of the memorabilia. So really 2 great resources for you to be able to help you deal with some of those emotional things. So here are some simple tips for getting started. So a lot of times it's very common, and you see a lot of decluttering experts will talk about the 3-box system: keep, donate, and trash. And I encourage you, maybe consider a 4th box. And this worked really well with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, she kept everything everybody gave to her, and she would either put a little piece of a Post-it note in there, or tape a little note on the bottom of something, or write, if it was appropriate, write something on there in a Sharpie about who gave them. So what we did, not only did we have a box keep, donate, and trash when my mother-in-law passed away, but we had another box where we were able to return a lot of the things that people have given her over the years and ask them if they wanted to keep that as a memento, or memorabilia, something to remember my mother-in-law about. So that was another box we added for people that had given her things over the years. So having these categories really helps you focus your decisions and keeping things. And so one of the other things is, as your aging loved ones are going through their things as they get older, it's okay. I mean, some aging adults are okay with, over time as they age, start to give away things. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe they've just decided that they've had all the time that they've needed to enjoy that particular item, and they would rather see someone else enjoy that item other than sitting in the closet in a box. So don't necessarily think that if an aging adult wants to give things away, that it's this big gloom and doom, I'm getting ready to depart or anything like that. Maybe they just want someone else to enjoy it, and see people, the joy of seeing people use things, rather than, again, having it packed up in a box, because they're just at their stage, their season in their life, that they're really not using those things anymore. So my mother-in-law would do is, if someone had mentioned over the years, and even if it was something she wasn't ready to part with, but for some reason she knew someone had an attachment to something, she would take that piece of paper, put it on the back underneath, tape it with their name on it. So, and we knew, I mean, it was law that any of the things that, when my mother-in-law and father-in-law had passed away, that those items that had someone's name on it were to go to that person, no questions asked. So that saved us a lot of grief, because everybody could agree that if mom said it goes to that person, it goes to that person, because that's what mom wanted. So it decreased on some of the arguments and the fighting over things, because mom or grandma had already designated where that item was supposed to go. So that does help later on. So a great guideline to use as they're going through this stuff is have I used it in the past year? If not, it might be time to consider letting go. Now, pictures and memorabilia, those kind of things are a little bit more sensitive. And, the pictures, they may not want to let them go right away. So maybe it's having, once you've gone through some of the things, maybe that's a winter project they could do, is maybe encourage them to go through the pictures, maybe put them in an album. That would be a nice winter project for them to do when they're more sedentary and where it's not as easy for our aging loved ones to get out of the house. So again, when faced with the sentimental items, this sometimes takes a little bit more time to decide, and it's okay. It's okay to set them aside, put them in the keep box for now, and revisit them later as, if you feel emotional or unsure. So we don't want to, have them feel like they're being forced to get rid of things when they're not ready. Again, that's as they get rid of these things, they're also letting go a little piece of what their life was like when they were more independent. So it can be an emotional struggle for our aging loved ones. So decluttering gets easier if someone's there to help. A friend, a neighbor, or family member can make the process faster and even a little fun. Plus, it's a great excuse to spend time, reminiscing together, looking at pictures, and it's a great way to provide some socialization for your aging loved ones. So spring cleaning is not a solo mission, so don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it. If a family member or a friend or neighbor is available, invite them to pitch in. Make it a team effort by, again, turning on some music, sharing some conversation, or even, rewarding yourselves with a treat like lunch or coffee, or going for dessert after the work is done. So if you're not close to family, no problem. Many community resources are there to lend a helping hand. There are a lot of organizations such as Catholic Charities or your local senior care agencies that often have volunteers that can help with some of these things and household tasks. If they are a member of a church, a lot of times the church community, the church family will have groups that will help with handyman tasks or help doing some of these things as well. There are also professional cleaning services that are also great, option if you need assistance with heavier jobs. Or there's even companies like Sarah's, Piece by Piece, that actually that's what her job is. She comes in to the senior's home, and along with them, they help go through things and declutter and decide where things should go. So there's always some help available as well. So remember, it is okay to ask for help, especially when we know we value your time, your energy, and your health and your safety. So we're going to wrap that up for today's Tuesday tips on some spring cleaning. So I hope you found some of these tips simple yet helpful. Whether it's creating a plan, staying safe, or calling in some backup, these tips will help you refresh your space and make it shine. And I can't tell you, it feels so good when you've gone through and you've organized and decluttered an area. So before we wrap up, I want to remind you about the extra resources. I'm going to put them right into the comment section now. So the first one, I'm going to go ahead and drop in the Share the Memories, Lose the Stuff. That's Sarah Washburn's Piece by Piece Decluttering for Seniors business. So that's in the comments. And the other one is Tosh Patterson, and she's going to talk about also downsizing and decluttering for seniors, and talk about the Swedish decluttering method that's directly, designed to deal with the memorabilia thing. So those are going to be in your comments for you. We will also put them in the video description for the replay on our YouTube channel. So don't forget, if you miss any of these lives, don't forget, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will always get notified when our next video is, or when the replay of the Tuesday tips is available. So thank you. This is my challenge for the week. So pick one area in your home to focus on for spring cleaning. It could be as small as tidying up a drawer. Everybody's got a junk drawer. Or as big as organizing a whole room or even a closet. So start where you feel comfortable and just see how great it feels to refresh in that space. So thank you for spending time with me today. If you've got any spring cleaning tips of your own or what's worked with your aging loved ones, we'd love to hear them. Please drop a comment in the post under the video here, and we will see you next week for another Tuesday tip session. So until then, take care, stay safe, and happy cleaning. We'll see you soon.